You're listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast, where we discuss everything iRacing in a casual setting. Enjoy.
Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer, where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus.
What's up, guys?
David Hall.
Yo.
And Justin Pearson.
Hey, friends.
On the show today, we will take you through the iRacing Coke Series Championship race event as we crown the new 2023 eNASCAR champion. We'll discuss if iRacing could or should be made available to consoles. In the hardware section, we'll look at the long-awaited Fanatec QR2 quick release system and SimMagic's pedals with haptic feedback.
And remember, you can follow along with us on your PC or mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com and selecting show notes. We hope to see you there. All right, it's the end of an era in several different ways. Michael Conti, he posted the Conti Files, which is 6 videos featuring the Coke Series driver that is retiring. The one that we have posted on the script is actually the last NIS race with the 2018 rules package.
Yeah, man, what a great memory, you know? It's actually the whole race, so I watched a good chunk of it. I kind of skipped into the middle of it, and man, it brings back those memories of having to wheel the car, having to, use your brake and throttle and maneuver this thing. And I think it's Las Vegas that he's at. But it's so much different than the current car, and it's kind of neat to see back to the way it used to be. And also give people like Justin maybe a look who had come into iRacing after this 2018 rules package.
Yeah, Michael Conti was actually the first driver that I actually would see in the professional level. He's the one that I kind of followed through the system.
Yeah, he put up several videos recently of past glory, but I thought this one was pretty neat because it kind of focuses on this car and this package and all that horsepower.
Maybe we can get him to come on now that he's retired, and we'll actually, have a little bit of time, and then he's not practicing 8 hours a week. I'd love to hear him talk about the practice regimen and how that can kind of drive even younger drivers out.
That would be so cool.
I think he's been on before, long ago.
Yeah, we had a stretch where we were really focused on getting Coke drivers in back before it had so much money in it. All right, so this is an interesting question. Why is iRacing not on consoles? What do you think, Justin?
I haven't got the form. Let's see here. They tweeted, sure would be nice to add support for console gaming. The next generation gaming consoles can support the demanding requirements. If the Xbox can support the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, what gives? What do you guys think about this?
If it can be done, why not? But how many resources is it going to take away from other developments? And is there anything that if you start worrying about cross-platform compatibility that will start to place limits on what you can do on iRacing on the PC? Does it sacrifice anything is my question. I don't know if it does or not.
He compared it to the to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, that's all good with Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's a one-time cost thing to buy. This isn't a one-time cost thing that people are going to be investing in on a console. You're going to put resources into having it there. You're going to then monitor a whole another group of people through, Xbox and PlayStation don't get along with their peripherals, so you're gonna have it makes the market even worse. So that makes having hardware work for both of them a little bit more difficult too. And do you really want? I don't know. When I find when on the PC, and maybe it's just me, but you get a more sophisticated crowd maybe than you would get because with a console, you're gonna have those kids that are expecting maybe it's an arcade version or something. I always consider the console an arcade type game. There's not very many sims on the console. None of the like Gran Turismo and Forza, as much as you want to call them a racing sim, they're not full sim arcade. They're more arcade with sim elements to them.
And consoles are not as upgradable as a PC is. You have to jump from generation to generation, I guess. But whereas you can almost sometimes piecemeal parts of a computer here and there.
I guess that iRacing has been around so long, it would be hard to move it to a different operating system outside of Windows.
I, sorry, Mike. I think Microsoft is the easier one of the two, like he said. But I don't. I just. It's hard to relate to it, right?
Is Microsoft Flight Simulator even multiplayer?
Yeah, I think you fly around there's other people in it. If I could be wrong. I haven't played it in a while.
Here's the easy answer to this. I mean, can Xbox One run Windows 11? And if so, then why can't it be? If it's got enough graphical power and stuff, you could take the graphics slider down all the way, run it with just, 4 cars, drawn, and you can hide the rest and all that kind of stuff to when you have a really crappy computer. I mean, you could really dial down the graphics, but I think it all comes down to can the console run Windows?
Okay, but Mike, you're saying turn it all down and run it on its lowest. Do you want to compete with somebody that's running? It probably doesn't need to be turned down as much as what you're saying, anyways, because those consoles are
True.
pretty powerful now. Um, but I just feel like, you're gonna the problem with Xbox and PlayStation is you're also gonna have more widespread signal problems. Whereas a PC, a lot of people focus on having good connected internet and good Wi-Fi and things like that. You're probably with the saturation of consoles out there, you might get more of a demographic that has weaker internet signals.
I think most of us just don't feel that console culture is going to be amiable to iRacing's culture, even though we can be toxic. Console culture is, an order of magnitude worse.
What do you mean? You don't like what Andrew Massey said in the forums here, where you go, we PC people or we PC only people thumb our noses at commoners. All hail King, all hail the PC.
There's some cultural differences, and some of it is probably the age demographic. You're going to have a lot younger generation on the console. But the question what we've all hit and added strength to the original thing I said is that is it going to do more harm than good, and also what resources does it take away from iRacing doing other things? How much effort will we have to be put into it, and is there anything that you can't do on PC because you're now worried about cross-platforming instead of just worrying about making it better on PC?
Well, Mike, we talk about every once in a while here about do they have to at some point refresh to another different type of gaming engine to run iRacing, or do they go to like an Unreal Engine or something like that instead of using what back in the day from Papyrus that they keep building on? does that maybe where they can make that change, where you could add in that kind of stuff when you make a big change for everything, or do they take that type of risk? I feel like if iRacing was gonna make racing for it, they would separately, like Monster was Gaming was trying to do, is bring out a separate game for each series. Would be the more
Yeah, there you go.
plausible thing, right? Whereas like you get a NASCAR Series One, you have an IndyCar, you have an IMSA or something like that, where you get the benefits of iRacing stuff, but maybe in a tighter package for specifically consoles, where it's like you have a storyline or season mode or franchise mode or like all those things we love in sports games.
I think technically it is going to be hard for them to get away from Windows, unless, like you said, they do a major change on the engine or something. But I want to read this quote in the forums from iRacer David Beatty. He said, quote, "Yeah, if I were iRacing, I'd be leveraging its assets to try to get licensed to make as many console games for racing series via Monster as possible. But I'd also be using those games to funnel people back into iRacing. An ad banner prominently displayed which says something like looking for something more realistic and challenging, try iRacing. Basically just fishing for the couch and controller players who are feeling that itch for something more but have no idea where to scratch it."
And you just stole my thunder because I was literally going to make the same point, and I hadn't seen the quote. In that the console environment is a great stepping stone because there's less financial investment, but they can get the racing bug and then find their way to iRacing. And I mean, I almost kind of went that route because I remember I was even back before 2003. I had some of the old NASCAR games where you could have career mode. Um, and that was fun, but it was not multiplayer or anything. But that got me started on that bug, and eventually I found my way to R Factor. Then iRacing came out, and then here we are. So yeah, the console environment is perfect for reaching to a broader audience, and it doesn't have to have the same level of um, perfect physics that iRacing has. Maybe that's the wrong word, but the same level of as close to perfect physics as you can get.
Uh, I got one more quote I want to read out of the thread, and this really goes back to the point of the thread about the actual console and how it is equipped to be able to handle gaming like this. Let me read this. It says, quote, "It's from Brandon Trost. The current consoles are all run a Ryzen 3000 series based processor. Even the Series S is capable of running iRacing. Its GPU is more powerful than a RX 6400 XT. As for VRAM memory, it's absolutely doable to configure iRacing to utilize the console configurations correctly. The Xbox Series X and PS5 are around an RX 6700, which will have absolutely zero problem playing iRacing using FSR balanced or quality at 60 FPS and 4K."
One of the things I was just looking through here, someone was talking about too, is what if we get to, because consoles have a life cycle. I know our computers were like David, you touched on about upgrading. What if you get to, iRacing puts out the product that they have on the PC, and you buy an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 or whatever console, you're playing on it like that. Um, they update it every 12, 13 weeks like they always do. Which the problem with that update is you can't just update it with the PlayStation or Xbox. It has to be okayed to have an update. They have to go through the Xbox store. They have to do all these things. It's not just, it has to be Xbox has and PlayStation have to sign off that all these updates you're doing or patches that you're adding or new content, because then it has to go through the ESRB and all those other things to make sure there's nothing that's going to violate anything with all the stuff that goes out to people's homes. But then there's also the fact that, okay, what happens when the console generation changes over to the next thing? Say you've put $1,000, $1,500 into iRacing, and the next console takes a while for it to, it's not ready day one or something for the next console version because iRacing couldn't get it all up to that. You've just spent all your money on the old console, and now you can't race the old one, or you can race the old one, but it's, does it update still? Like, there's all kinds of these things where PC is more viable because of the way that the platform works on the PC.
I think you nailed the deal breaker for me. I didn't think about it until you said it, but I definitely think you're right on that. Basically, having to deal with Microsoft, who's not known for being a cooperative company, it that pretty much sums it up.
Well, right now they're cooperating by buying every publisher around so that they don't have to cooperate with everyone. They can just tell them what to do.
Yeah, I mean, they've already been busted once for antitrust issues.
I don't think anyone thinks we could put all of iRacing on console. I mean, but can iRacing via Monster, put out a World of Outlaws game? Yeah, they'd have. Can they put out a NASCAR 2024 game? Yeah, they probably will. And then, yeah, it can work that way.
They're pretty much almost at the way of being able to put out an IMSA game if they keep the way they're going with scanning cars.
Right.
All right. I always found it funny on another podcast that is no longer active. Used to talk all the time about they didn't like how the grass looked. All right. Now, driving on the grass is also pretty tricky, but this next one, Greg, is about grass. Is it greener on the inside or the outside or the other side? What are we talking about?
So I guess I'm hoping it come to the right spot here when I did it. But is it Curtis Ramirez's post, Mike, that we're supposed to be looking at here?
It is.
Okay, so he posted that in the forums, a great job on the grass update. I obviously haven't downloaded is this the update we just had then?
The one before, I think.
Okay. I guess he's putting in there as one of the biggest critiques about the grass and the sand trap is the ice physics, which we all know that physics where it feels like the car speeds up as soon as it gets in there. He says, I'd like I'm guessing it's supposed to be there, be one of the first to say that you've nailed the grip levels of grass finally. I don't know if it's perfect. I've only driven off track a couple of times in real life, but my God, it worlds better than it was. I didn't even know it was part of that. Maybe I missed that in the update, but I don't know. Have you guys experienced the new grass issues? Or not issues, update?
I never felt like that it was that bad before. It's not asphalt. You're not going to have grip.
Yeah, to what degree though? I guess is the question. No, I haven't really tried it, but maybe I probably will tonight when I do my F4 FIA race.
Does the second post in there sum up iRacing's forums page in one single sentence? He goes, "You know what? I like this post because someone's happy."
Well, squeaky wheel is always, the one you're going to hear, right?
Well,
So this is
Go ahead,
I was going
Mike.
to say this is pretty far away from the Spa debacle. What was it, a year and a half ago or more, where they were actually driving through the grass on purpose.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say we had the problem where if you got on the grass, it would cool the tire off.
Yeah, but whenever you're in the grass, you basically just have to try. You almost have to drive it even more like a boat and just kind of point the wheels sort of where you want to go and let it slide.
It's such a hard thing. Like I give a hands down to those guys that found that thing, or were able to use the grass slow the car down and everything. It's like I find if I touch the grass at all, I have no luck trying to make the corner properly and do it in a rhythmic way every lap.
How does one go about and find that? I mean, were they just literally out looking for exploits?
Well, this
I was
is
going
what,
to say by accident.
yeah. Well, I mean, this is what we had a post in our forum, or not our forums, but our messenger page today, and I said that people are asking for real physics and things like that, yet they'll go in there and drive around and try and find the biggest bug that doesn't actually have a real physics in real life. type
Yeah,
thing.
but those aren't the same people. You be
No,
careful
I
with
get
these.
it.
Anytime you say, well, people complain about this and people complain about that, well, that's because they're different people. So everybody's going to complain about something is going to get somebody that complains about it because you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of people.
And I'm complaining about everybody that's some people.
What do you mean, some people?
Some persons, some things.
Well, Justin, do you ever complain about getting a hall pass?
No, not at all, David. I actually heard about this story.